the hero and his friends are about to be caught by the villains. And he says, "It's me you want. Let these other ones go." Seems like a familiar situation. Although I can't think of a specific movie or something where it's from. Maybe you can. If you can, let me know. It seems like it happens all the time. It happens in today's reading from John chapter 18 in our 5-minute devotional. And we get back to some narrative, some action actually happening, not just Jesus praying, as good as that is. So, here we are for today. This is the first 14 verses of John 18. When Jesus had finished praying, he left with his disciples and crossed the Kidron Valley. On the other side there was a garden, and he and his disciples went into it. Now Judas, who betrayed him, knew the place, because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. So Judas came to the garden, guiding a detachment of soldiers and some officials from the chief priests and the Pharisees. They were carrying torches, lanterns, and weapons. Classic. Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked them, "Who is it you want?" "Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "I am he," Jesus said. And Judas, the traitor, was standing there with him. Now when Jesus said, "I am," they drew back and fell to the ground. Again he asked them, Who is it you want?" "Jesus of Nazareth," they said. Jesus answered, "I told you that I am he. If you are looking for me, then let these men go." This happened so that the words he had spoken would be fulfilled. "I have not lost one of those you gave me." Then Simon Peter, who had a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant, cutting off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Jesus commanded Peter, "Put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me?" Then the detachment of soldiers with its commander and the Jewish officials arrested Jesus. They bound him and brought him first to Annas, who was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest that year. Caiaphas was the one who had advised the Jewish leaders that it would be good if one man died for the people. There's some action. And it all happens at night in darkness. You notice the torches and lanterns. And it's easy to picture the crowd of people. Torches, lanterns, weapons coming after Jesus. And did you notice something very kind of odd that happened when they asked Jesus asked, "Who are you looking for?" And they're like, "Well, we're looking for Jesus." And he's like, "I am he." And the people that are coming after him fall backwards. Well, you might remember, it was forever ago, but probably back in around the 8th chapter of John, we talked about Jesus identifying himself with the words, "I am." It happens a lot in John. And it's actually God's name. The name that he revealed to Moses in the burning bush way back in the early chapters of the Bible. So, in a way, Jesus speaking that name was like a revealing of the glory of God somehow. And I have no idea what actually happened or what this looked like, but there was something powerful about him saying that name. These guys just fell over. But they got back up and continued their task. And Simon Peter, ever the man of action, cut off the right ear of the high priest's servant. Do you think that's who he was aiming for? It's like, man, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to get a guy who's kind of important to the main guy. Maybe not. I'm guessing, the high priest was here, his servant was here, he aimed for this guy, and he actually got the ear of this guy. He probably wasn't very good with a sword. An interesting tidbit that we don't get from John, but we get from Luke, that Jesus actually, at the same time he told Peter to cut it out, he actually healed this guy's ear. So this is not This is not the heroic confrontation that Peter thought it was going to be. Jesus was not going to fight back in this way at this time. So lastly, I just want to point out at the very end of this passage, the high priest, he had previously said that it was a good idea if one person was to die for the people. He thought he was talking about that instead of there being a whole insurrection and the Romans coming and crushing everyone, that if they just made an example of someone, say Jesus, and killed him, that would be good enough. The thing is, he was right. But what he was talking about was far greater. Not just dying so that there wasn't an insurrection, but dying to end death for all time. And so, yeah, he made a prophecy without even knowing it, that it would be really good if one man died for the people, not just their people, but all people.